It is party time, Mom. Welcome to another episode of the Chad Prather Show. As you can tell, we are in the all-new mothership, Studio 22. Yes, we have the puppet master himself. Mark is at the helm driving this thing. This is a big old ship. I think he's going to be able to drive it pretty well. Candice, the queen of the Ethiopians, as always, is really the brains behind this operation. Brand new studio. I think you guys are going to enjoy it. I think you're going to have a good time. Today, we're going to get into some news and headlines. Of course, all the talk in the headlines is everything about whistleblowers, which means something completely different in my world. We're going to talk about impeachment. We're going to talk about Hunter Biden. We're going to talk about the Hines family and all kind of craziness going on between them and China and, of course, the Ukraine. Donald Trump, is he in trouble? Well, maybe so, but he usually is, and that's nothing new for him. So we're going to get into all kind of things, and we're going to give you our own extra little spin. So I want you to go wherever podcasts are offered. Preferably, if you get an opportunity, go to Apple Podcasts. And while you're there, I want you to rate it, review it. We only use 5-star ratings. If you don't have that in mind, don't even go. 5-star ratings. Tell us how awesome we are. You know why? Because we're bigger, badder, better now in the new Studio 22, and we deserve it. It's party time, Mom. Stay horned. Listen, I want you, if you want to watch this thing, you got to go to YouTube. You got to search Chad Prather, find my channel, subscribe, then you hit the little notification bell, ding, and it'll tell you every time a new show pops up. We're here Monday through Thursday, as you know. I've been getting messages from people saying, why don't you do a show on Friday night? I need a break. Well, you're getting enough of us, okay? We're running our mouths nonstop, and we're going to get into it today with all the crew, all your favorites here in the brand new studio. You're going to love it. And I got to give a big shout out to everybody here at Blaze TV and Blaze Media, Mercury Radio Arts, who made this studio possible. Hard working for the last several weeks. We already missed the old Studio 22, but I think we're going to get over it pretty quickly. Love you guys. Thanks for tuning in. It is party time, Mom. And now, before we kick this show off, I want to send you over to a guy you already know. The Texas legend is here, Steve Helms and Simple Ben McPherson. Take it away, boys. Hey, everybody, it is time to pay some bills. Now, don't go anywhere because I know how this thing happens. As soon as we start talking about our sponsors, our little numbers start to drop down. Don't go anywhere. Somebody told me the other day, they were like, the only time, like every time I watch your show, there's like 40 minutes of commercials.
But they're good sponsors.
They're great sponsors.
They're not boring.
And they're like 40 seconds long, and I'm the best ad reader of all.
You really are.
Natalie. NetSuite. I use NetSuite. You know what NetSuite is? Let me tell you something. If you don't know your numbers, you don't know your business. But the problem growing businesses have that keeps them from knowing their numbers is their hodgepodge of business systems. They have one system for accounting, they've got another for sales, another for inventory, and so on and so on. Just one big inefficient mess when you're trying to run a business. It takes up too much time, too many resources, and it hurts your bottom line because this is a for-profit business. I love capitalism. I want to introduce you to NetSuite by Oracle. It is the business management software that handles every aspect of your business in an easy-to-use cloud platform, giving you the visibility and control you need to grow. Now, with NetSuite, you're going to save time, you're going to save money. You're going to save the unneeded headaches by managing sales, finance, and accounting orders and HR instantly right from your desktop or phone. I'm so happy we don't have HR here. Like, I'm an HR nightmare.
I am.
I'm a walking 1-800 number. I really am. NetSuite's going to help you, though. That's why NetSuite is the world's #1 cloud business system. You got to check them out right now. NetSuite is offering you valuable insights with a free guide. It's called 7 Key Strategies to Grow Your Profits. Everybody wants that at netsuite.com/Chad. That's netsuite.com/Chad. Download your free guide, 7 Key Strategies to Grow Your Profits. Go to NetSuite. NetSuite, SUITE.com/Chad. That's CHAD. Hot news, Natalie, hanging out in the hot seat. What do you think about the new digs?
Oh my gosh. You moved it on up.
Didn't we come on up with it?
You did. You moved it on up.
I feel like Georgia Wheezy. Wheezy.
This is sharp. Fort Worth.
I know. Look at that. Everybody said, and in that picture, like Tim DiDonato and the guys, they just, whoever took that picture did a phenomenal job because it almost looks like a painting. And that's an actual picture. Mm-hmm. I mean, we're actually sitting in Fort Worth looking out the window. What do I know about television, Natalie? No, but they did a phenomenal job because, you know, my heart's in Fort Worth, Texas. It's the center of my universe. Mm-hmm. I love it. Mm-hmm. All of our crew here, like we got sitting over here in the bar, over in Party Foul's bar over there. Look at this crew of handsome. It looks like the usual suspects over there. I know, Jade, the lovely Jade.
Hello, everybody.
There. Party Foul Steve.
I'm here
in the house. Steve, do you think you can handle this new deal?
Yeah.
What you drinking there?
Apple juice.
Well, I'm not drinking anything. Party time.
Is that the penis whiskey?
I don't know. I don't think so. If you do that one shot, like if you look over my shoulder when I'm doing that opening monologue and the shadows of the bottles, stay horned, everybody. Let me just tell you. You'll notice when you watch the show again. You can go back to the monologue. Just
subliminal messages.
It really is. It really is. But this place looks phenomenal. Simple Ben McPherson. Simple Ben.
Howdy, y'all.
Ben, you and I met when you were 16 years old.
Oh.
Exactly.
Something like that.
We were doing some Jeff Epstein recruiting, and Ben came on the scene. Now, we were at Rhymes and Vines, weren't we?
Right.
In Stephenville, Texas. And I'm like, who is this child prodigy on the fiddle? Mm-hmm. And touring with Kyle Park and little Kyle Park. Love Kyle Park. And, of course, the Texas legend, Steve Helms. Look at you.
Hi, buddy.
Hey, buddy. Get his album. Buy you a country song. Get that new CD.
Get all 5 of them.
No, just get the one.
Okay.
Just get the one. I'm just so excited to be in here. We've been talking about it. I mean, we were supposed to be in here 6 months ago, but here we are. Got to give a big shout out to everybody who did it.
They rolled out the red carpet.
Yeah, they
countless hours.
Natalie,
Seriously.
Donald Trump's going down. They're going to kick him out. They're going to boot him. They're going to hang him out in the street.
Do you really think that's
no.
going to happen? Right.
No, I don't really think. But I will tell you this. You can base everything that's going to happen for the next 14 months before the election on what you're seeing right now. And it's just going to happen more and more. It's going to happen more and more. So if you don't like what is going on in the political system right now and what's being portrayed in the media, then take a break for about 6 weeks, take you a deep breath and come back because they'll be doing it again. They'll be on to the next. Because now they've opened up this can of worms where you can just use hearsay and call yourself a whistleblower. It's not a tattletale. It's just a whistleblower. And it can be secondhand information that you can be used against a sitting president. And I have some theories I want to get into today.
I do too.
Do you?
I do. Well, just one.
You got some ideas? All right. I'm excited to hear it. Have you guys over in the bar, have y'all been paying attention to this at all? This thing going on? Steve, you don't even care, do you?
I do care. It's my country, man.
Yeah.
Of course I care. I mean, did I play music this weekend and was I drinking? Yes.
Yeah.
But I know what's going on.
But you ultimately don't feel like Donald John Trump is personally affecting your day-to-day life right now.
I know that there's a lot of people that come to my shows that have a lot of money in their pockets right now to spend money on activities that maybe 4 years ago they didn't.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
And it's true.
I think the economy's doing really well, and it shows by people out there spending money on entertainment, and you know, they come to your shows, or they're going bowling, or they're going out to eat.
Yeah, it's throwaway money.
Yes, I mean, yeah, people are out. They're doing.
I got a message from someone this morning on Twitter who said, you know, my Social Security has gone up, and I can finally live off of it.
It's awesome.
And it's happened under this Trump presidency. So does that affect people? Yeah. At the time of this taping, right now, the Dow is up a couple of 100 points right now this morning. Those are kind of things we like to hear. So we'll see. But we're gonna have these things that are gonna happen more and more. Party foul?
Yeah, I've got a theory.
Yeah. You want to share it?
Oh, right now? You want to do it right now?
You can.
So, okay, everybody, say Democrats are trying to impeach Trump, They're trying so hard, and they're going to be more fierce right now because they know he's going to get elected in 2020.
Yeah.
So if they don't do it now, they're done.
Yeah, that's exactly right. See, here's what I'm going to propose right here, and watch it. Now, I said months ago, I don't know if I really believe it, but I said months ago on this show, I said, you watch, Hillary Clinton is going to emerge again in some way, form, or fashion. And everybody said, no, there's no possible way. Well, she just gave the interview there with Chelsea over the weekend with Jane Pauley. It was ridiculous, where she calls Trump, says that he knows he's an illegitimate president. And I'm sitting there thinking, why is she coming to the forefront again on this stuff? Why are they interviewing her? I mean, just go away already. Go away. If you went out and asked anyone on the street and you said, hey, do you think the popular vote should determine who the president is? Depending on which way they lean, especially if they're left-leaning, what are they going to say? Yes, I think the popular vote should do that. Well, George H.W. Bush won the popular vote, but he still didn't become president. You see how that works? See, they were all for it. They were all for the Electoral College when it put Bill Clinton in the office in 1992, which brings up that other issue of impeachment. But before we get into that, now, here's my theory. Nancy Pelosi and company are willing to throw Joe Biden under the bus over this Ukraine, I'll call it a scandal because it is a scandal, Ukraine gate. At what point in time did we call everything? I guess Watergate, Nixon, we started calling everything gate. Any scandal that comes up, email gate, Russia gate, Fusion gate, Cylinder gate, Fast and Furious gate. Candice, Queen of the Ethiopians, are you over there in the control room? What's your favorite gate?
I mean, you have to go with the classic, the Watergate,
The Watergate, yeah.
where it all started.
So, again, that takes us back to this issue of discussing impeachment. I'm going to tie all this together for you here in a minute. They're going to throw Joe Biden under the bus. And let me tell you why they're going to do it. And let me tell you what it's going to do for them. Because if they can find something that scars Donald Trump, like this phone call that he had with President Zelensky of the Ukraine, if they can use that to bring Trump down or at least make him look bad, they know they don't have a shot in hell at winning in November of 2020. So they got to make Trump look bad. In order to do that, they're willing to sacrifice one of their own. So you watch and see. Biden.
He was already struggling.
Yeah.
He was already in trouble.
And it's weird when you start putting the pieces together and you look at this thing because they throw him out there. Joe Biden was never intended to be president. He was never intended to be president. Had they had any real ambitions of him being president, he would have run in 2016, which would have been logical because he had been Obama's vice president. And isn't it very, very telling that Barack Obama has never endorsed his vice president in this election process? You haven't heard a word from Obama. And you have people who say, well, Michelle Obama's going to run. She just bought a $15 million house off the coast of Martha's Vineyard. She ain't going back into the White House. I just don't see that happening. Are you guys with me on this so far?
I'm in total agreement on that.
Yeah, I'm not going. And I don't know if you guys have ever been to the White House. It's old. Like it's been there for a minute. They rebuilt it after they burned it down in 1812. And so it's really kind of funky in there. And I promise you, I ain't leaving my $15 million 8-bedroom spread to go back into the residence hall of the...
It's kind of like going to Graceland. You expect this big old mansion, and you get there,
It's true.
Your neighbor next door kind of got a house the same size. You know what I'm saying?
You remember going, Jade, we went to Graceland, and you got the shag carpet,
Yep.
and you got, which was like back then, and he's got his little televisions, and you can see the front gate, from the monitor in the kitchen, and you're like, God, that's old. But at that time, it was like cutting edge.
Right.
Right?
It
then
seemed
everything
quite
on-
dated when we were there.
Yeah.
And everything on TV is so much bigger.
Yes.
And then when you get there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It didn't take long to get through the whole house.
No.
So here's the thing, and I also say this. While it would be problematic if Michelle Obama were to get into this presidential race, it would be problematic. That's never been their plan because they don't want to be elected officials. They want to be celebrities. Barack Obama used the presidency. He got himself set up so he could become a celebrity. That's what he wanted. And now they're Netflix executives, and they're making money hand over fist. Okay. So he's never endorsed Biden. Biden's going out. He's not going to make it. I think right now the candidate that is earmarked to be their person is Elizabeth Warren, Pocahontas. So she's the one that they want. Anybody have a thought on that? Mark, Puppet Master, you got a thought on that? Candice? Anything? Have you guys been watching this deal?
Well, if right now Elizabeth Warren is kind of the front runner, and so I don't think Hillary's going to allow her to be the first female president, if that's the case.
I agree with you.
might
And
jump
that
in
goes
there.
back to my point. So let's pay attention to Mrs. Hillary Rodham. I do not have sexual relations with that woman, Miss Lewinsky. Clinton.
So when do they have to announce their run for presidency?
At least by the day before the election.
Yeah, everybody writes in. It's gonna be crazy.
You got to have time to get your name on the print, dude.
Yeah. See, my thing is, if you haven't engaged in any of the DNC debates, then you're out. Okay.
She doesn't need to. Even with all those candidates, Hillary's would just flick them like nothing.
Well, it's all a smokescreen, folks. Remember, I always tell you, the issue is never the issue. Whatever's being paraded out there is always a smokescreen. So this thing, and I'll go back to where we started, this whole Ukraine gate is one big smokescreen. It's look over here because something else is going on down here. We haven't heard a damn thing about Jeffrey Epstein in weeks. We haven't heard anything about, this Jeffrey Epstein deal was a big deal. Remember?
Yes.
Remember this, Candace? We could talk about Epstein and boom, boom, boom. The numbers on the podcast were going to go crazy.
It was never ending, and now you don't hear anything about it.
Now it's not a peep. We forgot Jeffrey Epstein exists. We're not done with Jeffrey Epstein because we got things to expose here that you and me have thought about. And we're going to get into that in upcoming shows. Mass shootings. We haven't heard a peep about mass shootings. We haven't heard anything about red flag laws in a while. We haven't heard any of this stuff. But now it's all about impeaching Trump. And it's this whole, we're going to propose an idea of potentially investigating so that we can come up with this possible accusation of impeachment that we may try. We don't know. Right now, it's just an inquiry of can we even seriously talk about impeachment? All because of this telephone call that he had with President Zelensky, which, of course, Trump released the transcript of. And everybody read it, and everybody has a different interpretation of it. One of which was Adam Schiff, who should be going to jail for this. He should be indicted for getting up in front of Congress last week and giving a made-up version in a testimony of what the transcript said. He since said it was a parody. Can you imagine George Washington when his father asked him about cutting down the cherry tree, and he said, I cannot tell a parody. That's just an updated, watered down, sanitized word for a lie. I hate Washington. They're scumbags, Natalie. They're scum.
Okay, can I tell you what my little simple
on.
mind? I have a very simple mind. I learned quid pro quo. That was a big word of the day, Or like quid pro quo. Okay,
Never quid
it.
pro.
Quid
how
quo.
How much quid could a quid pro quo if a pro could quid pro?
Yes.
Something like that.
So big word of the day. You and I have talked about this, how desperate the Democrats are. And in my little mind, I see this as yet another distraction, not because of what you just mentioned, but just from the Russian collusion. Because when that blew up in their face, and it did, that blew up in their face, and there was enough there for the other side to investigate. Now it's just another distraction. Oh, well, we screwed that up, but I spit on myself.
You did?
I was passionate. We screwed that up.
You look like Nancy Pelosi there for a second. Nancy Pelosi, go spit on somebody else. Shout out to our buddy Brian Hayner. His great song, Nancy Pelosi. Nancy Pelosi, go spit on somebody else.
It's just a distraction.
It is.
And
you
now
don't hear anything about it anymore.
I heard it from a friend who heard it from a friend who heard it from a friend.
Impeach REO Speedwagon.
You were naughty. And on that conversation, now we don't know exactly what it is. And this that they're from the whistleblower is obvious from what I understand. It's all very one-sided. He's pissed off, and so they're going to take that now and run with it.
Yeah. And
More
so
distractions.
now Trump has said, I have a right to face my accuser.
Sure.
You know, which he never gets an opportunity to face his accusers. I don't care if it's a sexual harassment accuser or anything else. They just trot these people out here and then give credence to something that is ultimately hearsay. Because this person, whoever the whistleblower is, did not hear this phone call. It was heard it from someone who supposedly did it and reported it. Party foul, what you got?
Yeah, another thing we hadn't heard about is Space Force. Y'all haven't heard much about it, but it's about to launch. It's happening in the background, that Space Force. There's
Within
something
months.
going on we don't know about, and I think it may be, we're going to find out.
Why do you say that?
I'm
Boogity,
telling you
boogity,
guys,
We're about to find out there's aliens, guys. And this
hey,
is
I was
this
about
is
to
going to
say
blow
the
all
same
this
thing.
stuff out of the way.
Since
We
the
don't
Navy,
hear-
Hey, since the Navy came out and said that video footage of the spacecraft was legit,
Yeah.
we haven't heard one thing else about it, but all this other stuff's going on. And I'm telling you, you're right. They're about to come out and let us know that the
Well, and I
aliens
have
are
Space
here.
Force, they say within 60 days we'll have a Space Force. It'll be in place. But
I have a friend that was abducted. Trigger.
Tell us about that.
from Trailer Park.
Trigger to Bose.
Trigger. And he got abducted and sucked it up, and he thought it was the rapture and it was Jesus, but then he said,
It was a space Jesus is what it was. We had us a sweet little fellowship over some gelatinous food.
I thought it was Jesus, and then he said boogity boogity boogity. And
I
I
said,
knew it
man,
wasn't Jesus.
Jesus ain't talking like that.
I can't help it. I'm sorry.
So I
Anyway,
want to find this tweet, and Candace, you can put it up, where President Trump, who, by the way, tweeted 51 times over the weekend, which is, a lot even for him. But he basically was quoting Pastor, who's it, Robert Jeffress,
was it the
who
Civil
made the
War?
comment, who said that if this impeachment is successful,
I have it.
that it will create a fracture basically akin to Civil War that will be irreparable. An irreparable fracture, I think was the phrase. I could be wrong on that. And then people went nuts on Twitter because they were now saying he's calling for civil war. He's demanding civil war. This president will not be happy until there's fighting in the streets and violence and blah, 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 blah. This is why I cuss, people. This is why I get in trouble. Everybody's like, you've gotten so vulgar on the show. No, I just get frustrated, and I don't know any other way to do it but just to call it BS. He said it would create a fracture that would be hard for us to get over, like a civil war type fracture. He didn't say we're going to have a civil war. So these are the kind of smoke screens that are up there, and it's just creating this whole deal that's going on. That's why I'm telling you, get ready, because for the next 14 months until the election, it's going to be one after another. You're exactly right, Natalie. Russia, boom, it's a hoax.
Gone.
It's gone. $30 million, gone, poof. 2 years of our life, poof, gone. They got nothing from it. They don't even bring it up anymore because it doesn't exist. It's not there. Now, most people, and I want to encourage you, because I'm not going to give you some big, huge history lesson on impeachment. Most people don't, first of all, even know what impeachment means. I read a reporter out of, Candace, who was it from? He's with one of the political websites, and he's a supposed journalist who said, he's going to be impeached just like Richard Nixon. I said, you're a regular old Bob Woodward here. Richard Nixon was not impeached, okay? He resigned. He might have been heading towards impeachment, but he wasn't impeached. This is why journalism gets no respect in this day and age.
How many presidents have been impeached?
2. Do you
And
know
who are
them?
they? Bill Clinton
Yeah.
was impeached. And who was the second?
Andrew Johnson.
Okay.
So the thing about that is, okay, Bill Clinton never left office.
Right.
People think that if you impeach somebody, that they automatically leave office. Now, the reason you can become impeached, or there has to be any form of an impeachment, is the lower house, which would be Congress. The lower level of the House would be Congress. Has to bring up not only the inquiry, but has to bring up this accusation. It can be bribery. It can be being a traitor. High crimes and misdemeanors, which, by the way, the Constitution does not define what high crimes and misdemeanors are. So it's very vague there. It's all determined by. So the accusation here is that Donald Trump offered quid pro quo. In other words, you give me something, I'll give you something. And yes, Donald had stopped. Donald. like he's my homeboy or something, had stopped a payment to the Ukraine for like $351 million, $351 million or whatever. I could be wrong on those numbers, but I'm close. And then he has this conversation with Zelensky and says, hey, congratulations. And then Zelensky just kisses his ass for 5 minutes talking about, yes, Mr. President, we learned so much from your election. We had success like you. We used you as a pattern to, so Trump loves that kind of stuff, right? Loves that kind of stuff. That's why he gets off and Trump's like, it was a perfect phone call.
Nailed it.
I mean, this was probably the best, most fabulous, terrific, tremendous phone call ever in the history of since Graham Bell, Alexander Bell, ever since he called for Watson to come in the other room. It was, because he's getting his butt kissed, and that's just how Trump is. That's how he is. So, I'm never going to defend Donald Trump the dude's got some weird personality traits. Okay, I'll give you that. I'm not going to look at one of my 12-year-old sons and be like, I want you to grow up and be like that guy. But you got to defend the guy because, again, he's never done anything that isn't pro-American. And I'll get back to the phone call in a second. So we were in, Steve, what towns were we in this week?
Omaha?
No, in California.
Oh,
we were
California.
in Fresno and Napa.
Yountville.
And we went out and had a beer before the show in Napa. We met some...
don't drink wine while you're there. That's stupid.
No, I know. Well,
I had whiskey.
I would have.
I didn't drink any wine. Because wine gets you set back, man. Get you set back. We didn't even eat. Steve, you even realize that we didn't even eat?
Oh,
We had like some chips and salsa after the show. But we never even had a meal while we were in Napa.
Nope, sure didn't.
And that's a great place to eat up there.
We forgot to eat.
We forgot to eat. By God, we didn't forget to drink. Party time, Mom!
That beer got you set back.
I know. And I was drinking Mexican beer.
Modelo.
I was drinking Modelo. Something weird about this thing. I don't even know what city I'm in most of the time. Helms, you know what I'm talking about. We don't know. So, anyway, we met some two girls and this guy. They were there. A couple of them were in from. They had moved there.
College students.
College students, and so we told them. We said they're sitting there at the bar with us. We said, "Why don't y'all come to the show?" Because I carry this $20 bill. You seen my $20 bill? Let me show everybody. Keep it in my pocket. I like to try to pass it off as currency. Somebody gave me this at a show in a while back. We need to order some of these, Candice. Look at that. Can you see that right there? Is Donald Trump on a 2020? Look at that. Isn't that beautiful?
You can tell by someone's reaction to it whether they love him or hate him.
This right here, forget a MAGA hat. This right here, folks, is how you determine where somebody stands politically. Because I pull this thing out and I laid it on the bar, and the girl picks it up and she goes, "Oh my God, I love this. Where did you get these things?" And then the other little girl down on the other side of the she's like, "Oh my God, set it on fire." And I was like, okay, game on. Invited them to the show. They came out to the show, right? And so we're sitting there in the green room. Everybody, we had some friends that we knew who live in California who came out. So we got about half a dozen people sitting in the green room after the show. And the girl that I knew who was pretty left-leaning, she kind of starts in about, because my show obviously leans a little politically right. And so she starts in about Trump and how much damage he's done to minorities in the homosexual community. And I'm like, oh, wait. I said, Trump's done more for minorities in the homosexual community, not minorities in the homosexual community and the homosexual community. I know that can sound a little weird. Than any other president. And she's like, oh, do not even go there. And I said, well, I'm just saying. I got the numbers and the facts to back it up. And she's like, don't even start with that. And then her friends are like, oh, don't get her going. And I said, I'm not trying to get anybody going. I just want to hear why she thinks that, tell me your reason. She goes, I can't even get into that. And I said, well, why not? And she goes, I'm not even going to go there. And I said, well, just try to go there. Like, give me some numbers. Like, give me a reason, some back up something of what he's done detrimental to the black community or the minority community or, all of the, the homosexual community. Tell me what he's done. I can't even get into this with you right now. And I'm like, that's because you don't know what you're freaking talking about.
Because she literally can't.
You can't. You don't have.
She's a college kid that's 19 years old.
Exactly.
She hasn't lived yet.
So exactly.
But the other college kid liked the 2020 bill.
The other one did.
Yeah. So it's. I mean.
Yeah.
The other one,
And
maybe
they were in their early 20s. Okay, so
You can't not like a $20 bill if you haven't paid a bill yet.
Fair.
it's 2000.
don't get me going, Steve. I'll die over here. I got to grow my beard back out. You can see my double chin. It's like my face is giving birth to another face.
I have no problem with your faces.
Hey, girl. You kiss both of my faces.
I sure will.
Oh,
Two-faced.
you can gobble on my turkey waddle. Gobble on the waddle, baby. We'll do that later.
Get a room.
Anyway, tell us about that dream you had about us all.
I know I did. No, I'm not.
It wasn't
Who all
about
was in the
us. It
dream?
was about me.
Who all was in
was
the
it?
dream? You
Jade.
two? Oh, sweet God. Well, we got to talk about
That's
that.
another show.
Woo, party time, Mom. Stay horned.
Means being jaded is a whole new thing. Isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, I want it. While I'm thinking about this, and I'm going to continue the thought in a second, I want you to go to where podcasts are. Go to Apple Podcasts and leave a review. I'm going to start really pushing that because it helps us in the rankings. It doesn't really even matter how many people are listening to the show, and that's a lot of people. But go leave a rating and a review and do that. 5 stars. 5 stars only. That's all we accept. And a good review. Tell us how great we are. We love it.
Stay horned.
Chad, you're so pompous and arrogant now. I remember when you were humble and had a dog in the back seat. 5-star review, everybody. But anyway, they never have, like Robert De Niro goes on CNN on Sunday morning with Brian Stelter, and he's like, I don't like this president, you know. Well, Fox News says, and he's like, F him. I'm sorry. You know, my bad. And then he's like, okay, what do you not like about this president? Well, he's just not good. He's horrible. He's terrible. Okay, like, what does that mean?
Elaborate.
What does that mean?
He said he was a gangster, and I'm like, all kinds of.
I mean, you know, he's a
De
Trump.
Niro said somebody was a gangster.
Yeah, I know. So, anyway, I want you to study up on the impeachment process because you don't just impeach somebody, okay? There have been about 63 impeachment accusations and proceedings in American history. Only about 8 of those went through. The majority of those were judges. And the 8 that went through, only 2 of those were presidents. So you can't just go in. Ken Starr was on with Cavuto yesterday talking about how ludicrous this impeachment process is because he says, look, yeah, Trump's phone call with Zelensky is a bad look. It is a bad look. I wouldn't have advised him to use that conversation because although there was not obvious quid pro quo, in other words, he didn't say, hey, I need you to dig up dirt here.
Right.
He just said, hey, look into this thing. Well, first of all, Treaty 106-16 says that when it comes to a criminal investigation, the United States and Ukraine have an agreement that they can cooperate together in an investigation if it's a potential criminal investigation or even an accusation. So Trump has the right to ask that question of the Ukraine. Okay. Zelensky at the climate summit sits down in front of the cameras and says, I was never pushed by Donald Trump to investigate anything. He didn't push me. He didn't threaten me. He didn't say you're not getting this money unless. The one thing Trump did say is, you know, we've done a lot for you, but we haven't gotten a lot in return. Yeah. So that's a bad look, D. That's a bad
look
look.
bad, but it's true, and that's with even
Yeah.
a lot of other countries around the world that the U.S. does stuff for, that they're not doing things in return.
Yeah.
Is that just Trump's negotiating skills coming out? Because,
Well,
you
look,
know,
okay.
he's
It's
in
always
his book.
negotiating no matter what, whether there's a sale or not. That's kind of why we hired him, because he runs business. Like,
Yeah.
you know, he's running our country like a business.
So
Maybe that was just his, snuck out. You know?
So are you familiar with the book The Art of War by Sun Tzu that was written hundreds of years ago? Art of War. Okay, Trump wrote a book called The Art of the Deal.
Yes.
He is such a masterful. He understands. He has so studied Sun Tzu, The Art of War, that he named his book after it, The Art of the Deal. So for him, the deal is like warfare. Trump is so deep into it. I know everybody wants to think he's a bumbling moron, but the guy is not a bumbling moron. There are, like I used to not believe, like I would just scoff at this whole deep state stuff or this Illuminati or Bilderberger stuff, and there's some weird conspiracy down deep in the dark. I used to scoff at that. Not anymore, Candace.
I mean, there's some, maybe. Who knows?
No, ain't no maybe. It's happening, woman. It's happening. You're too young to understand these things.
You be nice.
Candace, the queen of the Ethiopians. I believe in it. There's some weird going on. Party time, Mom. There's some weird stuff going on. It is.
Has it always been going on?
Yes.
And we're just
all
seeing
the way
a little
back
more
to
of
when
it
they
because...
founded the Federal Reserve on Jekyll Island.
Okay.
Somebody wants to read a book, read The Creature from Jekyll Island and the advent and the creation of it. There's just weird stuff out there. A lot of it is thought of as conspiracy theories. But the more we're getting into this stuff, you're seeing weird stuff. Because I've told you on recent weeks in podcasts, I'm like, look here. There are bigger people out there than a Donald Trump or the Clintons or, the George Soroses of the world, even them, they have handlers that are out there. There's a weird network of people out there in the world. Again, throw up a smoke screen like this Ukraine thing. Where does Jeffrey Epstein go? He's gone.
Right.
Where's the Russia hoax go? It's gone. Not even talking about it anymore. Now, there are no set rules for impeachment. Isn't that interesting? So it's basically up to an arbitrary agreement for the Senate. If the House passes a resolution to pursue impeachment, then it's up to the Senate. The Senate has to take a look at it. You get the federal judges involved. There has to be an indictment. There has to be a trial. They have to take a look at this. It's going to take a 2/3 vote. I'm not getting into all the details. I'm just telling you, go and take a look and learn that just because you get an impeachment proceeding doesn't mean the president's going to be gone. And by the way, if you guys think that you can impeach Donald Trump and get him out of office and then all of a sudden you're going to find a way to get rid of Pence, Vice President Pence, when he becomes the president, and you think Nancy Pelosi is now going to step up, understand that just like whenever Nixon appointed Gerald Ford after Spiro Agnew, Mike Pence will have the opportunity to appoint his own vice president too. So if they get rid of Mike Pence, guess what? His vice president is going to be the one who steps in, not Nancy Pelosi. Am I making sense?
He'll appoint Donald Trump as his vice president.
Are there any rules against that?
Yeah. Yeah, it's just dumb. Here's what I want to get into because we're going to oh my gosh. I want to get into this thing and just hang tight. And I want to read you I'm going to give you a timeline here, okay? We'll come back. If we want to talk about impeachment, we'll talk about impeachment. Let me just toss it right there. It's party time, Mom. Everybody take a deep breath. How are we doing on time, Marcus? Pretty good?
Yeah, we are at 35 minutes right now.
35 or 45?
Yep. 35.
All right, good. Give me 10 more minutes, people. I'm going to walk you through this Ukraine thing. All right, I'm going to walk you through this thing. I'm going to take you all the way back to 2009. There's a kid by the name of Hunter Biden. He is the son of the sitting Vice President Joe Biden. There's another boy named Chris Heinz. Now, if Heinz sounds familiar, yes, that is the ketchup company. He is the son of John Kerry's wife, who is, of course, a Heinz, and John Kerry's stepson. They get together and they form a company called Rosemont Capital. It's an international investment firm, and they do it with the help of a guy named Devin Archer, who's a businessman and a close friend of Chris Heinz. All right, Rosemont is going to expand, and they're going to add a couple of branches to their company, Rosemont Realty and Rosemont Seneca Partners. Now, stay with me, folks, because I feel like Mark Levin right now. Mark Levin! Here's what's going to happen.
Where's your chalkboard?
I need one. Coming for you, Beck. Pay attention, Steve. There's going to be a quiz. Party foul. After months of these really tough talks with China, Hunter Biden and Chris Kerry, there's this South China Sea dispute, and the partnership, whatever, it doesn't happen. And China is going to ramp up activity on this disputed territories, mostly with military bases being constructed. And so they're having these negotiations with Joe Biden and all these things. They're trying to, anyway. Bank of China. Because let me tell you, Hunter Biden gets on Air Force Two with Joe Biden, goes over to China. They're having these negotiations, having these talks. And the Bank of China creates an investment fund with Rosemont Seneca, which is a branch of Hunter Biden and Chris Heinz's Rosemont Capital. All right? They call it Baha'i Harvest Rosemont, or BHR. You with me? China allows Rosemont to set up shop in the Shanghai zone, which means Rosemont would actually be allowed to take Chinese government money and actually invest it outside of China, even in the U.S. Now, we're not talking about Goldman Sachs. We're not talking about Deutsche Bank. We're talking about BHR. We're talking about this little tiny investment firm that is run by Biden and Kerry, or not Kerry, but Hines. Okay, so get it again. I'm summarizing. Joe Biden gets on Air Force Two, flies over to have some negotiations, and somehow Hunter Biden comes back with his little company with a major business deal, okay? Major business deal. We're talking like $1.5 billion with this little tiny investment firm, okay? So in 2014, John Kerry goes over to China. There's this climate accord that is reached between China and the U.S., and it's headline news all over the world. Remember, at the time, he was the Secretary of State under Obama. What doesn't make the headlines is this state-backed Chinese company under the name of Gemini, which purchased 75% of Rosemont's realty branch for $75 million. And a few months later, Gemini invests $34 million into the Rosemont Fund. Now, remember, Hunter Biden, who's a cokehead, who's a crackhead, I mean, he found a damn crack pipe in his car. The guy he's a Navy reservist, right? He's over the age of 40. They bring him in on waivers, and he wound up having to resign from the Navy because he tested positive for using cocaine. God bless you. So
this probably gave him anxiety.
He says it was accidental ingestion. That's what I'm going with.
He's got a lot of stress.
So now we know where that $85,000 a month salary went up his nose.
Ugh.
Yeah. So now, remember, they're in partnership with Devon Archer. Devon Archer opens up this foreign limited liability company under the name Rosemont Seneca Baha'i LLC, and they use this. It's a foreign LLC. They open it with a Fort Lauderdale address. 5 days later, Biden, he goes over to meet with Ukraine officials in Kiev and offers Ukraine $1 billion. This is Joe Biden, to help aid Ukraine's natural gas industry and economy. Okay. Now, let's get it straight. Hines and Biden have already come home with $1.5 billion from China. Why? Well, there's some things at work here. There's some things at play. Hunter Biden loses his gig, loses his job because he's a crackhead. All right? Now, they're going to go over to the Ukraine. A week after Joe Biden goes over there, less than a week later, Devon Archer joins the board of Burisma, which is the Ukrainian natural gas company. 2 weeks later after that, Hunter Biden joins Archer as a board member of Burisma. And coincidentally, this is the same time that Senator Edward Markey, along with 3 other senators, they write this thing for Barack Obama. They write a letter asking for an increased aid in Ukraine. Interesting timing on this. So they said we need to leverage the full resources and expertise of the U.S. government to assist Ukraine in improving its energy efficiency, increasing its domestic production, and reforming its energy markets. In addition, they wanted to give aid to the Ukraine for energy development. Now, they hire Devon Archer. They hire Hunter Biden, who prior to that had never had any experience in the gas industry. None. And the Ukraine hires them. They bring them on as board members. And not only that, paid board members on this company called Burisma. They're paying Hunter Biden in excess of $50,000 a month as a board member. For what? For what? If you put me on the board of Exxon...
Please do, Exxon.
If you put me on the board, I don't have a damn clue. I mean, what am I going to do?
Hey, don't tell him that.
Well, Hunter Biden didn't either. But they're paying him $60,000, $70,000 a month. I mean, the guy's already come back with $1.5 billion from China because of his daddy. Why? No, I mean, think about this. Think about what I just said now. Goldman Sachs doesn't even get a deal like that with China. Deutsche Bank, one of the biggest banks in the world, they don't get it. But this little firm with Hunter Biden. Well, now, meanwhile, back in China, there's this company named AVIC, which is an aviation industry corporation of China, AVIC. They've been secretly dealing with U.S. technologies related to the F-35 stealth bomber these fighter jets, I'm sorry. And AVIC teams up with a fund known as BHR. Who's that? Hunter Biden's group. The same BHR fund owned by Kerry's boy and Joe Biden's boy. And they had secured $1.5 billion from the Chinese government. Now, Burisma, back in the Ukraine, makes a $3.4 million payment to Rosemont Seneca Baha'i. That's BHR. Or Rosemont Seneca Baha'i, LLC. That's the one that was set up in Fort Lauderdale. This is all 2014. Everybody breathing still? Everybody breathing. Now, I don't know what world y'all live in, but this is some nepotistic stuff right here. I mean, there's some stuff going on here. I mean, we're talking about to the tune of the big deal. Now, what do? People want to jump online and they want to say, yeah, but the Trump kids. Trump kids don't make money from politics, all right? The Trump kids are business people. They're not lawyers. They're entrepreneurs. They're businessmen, businesswomen. Ivanka Trump, yes, she has been an advisor to her father. Yes, Jared Kushner has a position in the Trump White House. But Ivanka Trump is a smart woman. She's an entrepreneur. She's been a model. She has been a clothing line designer. And she is a philanthropist and humanitarian. Okay, that's her job description. She's just an all-around good, decent person. Don Trump, Eric Trump, they run the Trump Corporation. They're not in politics. Do they speak out about politics? Yes. And I know people are going to say, yeah, but Daddy set him up. Daddy's a friggin' billionaire. I hope he did set him up. Can you imagine if he didn't? I mean, this ain't no William Randolph Hearst crap we're talking about.
I mean, quite frankly, those kids don't have to do anything.
They don't have to. I mean, but that's, art of the deal, baby. They're running it. So in 2015, AVIC, which remember is that Chinese aviation company, they buy 51% of a technology known as Henniges. I may be spelling that wrong. Henniges. And Biden and Kerry's BHR fund purchases the other remaining 49% of it. See, they have this word for when something like that happens. It's called treason. Because you just bought secure military technology from another country. All right. So Henniges, what it is an anti-vibration technology that's considered dual use because it's used on military vehicles like the F-35 jet fighter. It's used in automobiles, okay? But it's this technology. And it is restricted commerce. Can't just go out and buy this stuff. It's on a list. We have this restricted commerce list, which is like you ever go out to the Joint Naval Air Force Base and says if you cross this line, out there where they park the jets, the fighter jets, those F-22s are out there, and it says if you cross this line, we can use deadly force on you. Why? Because they don't want you going out there with your stupid cell phone taking pictures of our technology. This is secret stuff. So they're out there buying these things. So in order for them to be able to buy it, it requires the approval from the Committee on Foreign Investments of the United States to get it. Well, how the hell do they get to do it? Oh, boy. So, John Kerry, the Secretary of State, and who's probably, who's just an evil man, stepfather of Chris Hine, makes it out where BHR can go in and buy 49% of this thing. All right. They approve the deal. BHR teams up with Beijing. This time they buy 100% of rare earth metals called molybdenum. Been a long time since you ever heard the word molybdenum. You ever heard of molybdenum? It's in the periodic table.
I was going to say, is that on the periodic chart?
It is. It is a rare earth metal. Okay.
You said chart.
What?
I like that.
Is that wrong?
Table.
Table. Sorry.
Periodic table.
Yeah. So
I was educated wrong.
It's not a chart.
Table.
I'm boring the crap out of everybody, but I'm telling you that you got to be here. You got to be here. So
you lost me at anti-vibration.
Like,
who wants that? I don't know.
Stay hard. Another shot of the whiskey bottles, everybody. There they are. There's the symbols. You can't see it from that angle. You got to look at it during the opening of the show. Angle. Yeah, you can't see it from that angle. Anyway. So, U.S. had filed a complaint 4 years earlier to the WTO, the World Trade Organization, charging Beijing with attempting to control the world's rare earth metals, and the WTA ruled in the U.S.'s favor. Now, back in the Ukraine, this is so complicated. Burisma makes another $3.4 million payment to Rosemont Seneca Baha'i LLC, which sparks a potential corruption probe into the natural gas company, which 2 years earlier had placed Hunter, the crackhead, and Devin Archer as head board members. All right. So you got this stuff going on all over the globe. And old Joe Biden, vice president, he uses $1 billion of the U.S. money to help boost the Ukraine's gas and economic industry. Well, there's this guy named Shokin. He's a Ukrainian prosecutor, and he launches this investigation into a corruption probe on Burisma there in the Ukraine. And guess what? Immediately starts getting pressure from the Ukraine to stop. Now, the president of the Ukraine says, don't pursue any investigations of Burisma. Well, he wouldn't stop. This is back when President Poroshenko was in charge. Shokin wouldn't stop. So you've seen the video this past week, this little viral video that came out of Joe Biden, who's sitting there bragging, talking about his trip to the Ukraine. And he's talking about Shokin when he says, I'm getting on a plane. I'm leaving here in about 6 hours. And he's talking real big and bad. You know how Joe does, how he gets cocky. Leaving in this plane in about 6 hours. $1 billion. If you want that money, you'll fire that prosecutor. Son of a they fired him. And so if you've seen it, and that's his quote, he withheld $1 billion of aid for the gas development, natural gas development in the Ukraine in order for them to fire Shokin, who was pursuing these corruption allegations against BHR and specifically Hunter Biden. Okay. 2017, Devin Archer, remember, who's one of the founders, along with 2 other men, they get arrested for conspiracy to commit securities fraud that totaled more than $60 million. They find Devin Archer along with 2 other men guilty of conspiracy to commit security fraud. But guess what? U.S. District Attorney Judge Ronnie Abrams overturns the jury's decision. And he says the evidence at the trial earlier this year had not shown that the man Devin Archer knew that the bond issue was fraudulent or that he received personal benefit from it. They're left with an unwavering concern that Archer is innocent in crimes charged. So here we are. Back in April of this year, Hunter Biden's left Burisma. And 5 days later, Joe Biden announces his candidacy for president of the United States because he thought that it would form some form of a barrier around himself to delay any form of prosecution. Now, isn't that interesting? The timing is interesting. You got secret technology being purchased, shares of it. You got $1.5 billion that gets secured by this little firm. You've got all of this money that places Hunter Biden in this place. And Donald Trump gets on the phone and says, hey, we got this video out here. I'm summarizing, but I'm not before Congress like Adam Schiff,
right,
who lied about this thing. I'm just summarizing. Who says, we got this video. It says that, there was $1 billion that was going to be withheld. According to Joe Biden, if this prosecutor, we'd love it if you looked into that. Okay. Was it wrong? Well, not a good look. Is it impeachable? No. It's not an impeachable offense. That's my opinion. My non-judicious, non-legal mind. I haven't passed any bar exams. But when you're talking about this murky water of crimes and misdemeanors, is that one? Not like what they're trying to do. So what you see is a very big sign of a lot of corruption involving a lot of big money and a lot of power brokers that are making this happen. And the problem with it is somebody at some point in time has got to stop the madness and look into it. If the president of the United States can't say, hey, we got to look into this thing, then who in the world can? Because this is problematic. This stuff's going to continue to go on and on. So what they, in essence, are doing is trying to impeach Donald Trump from the presidency, accusing him of doing exactly what Joe and Hunter Biden did. And it's just not going to stand. And when this one falls, however many $1 million we have to spend to get this thing returned to hoax status. I'm dying over here, Natalie. Do you have cooties?
Yeah.
Talk amongst yourselves, Steve.
You remember from my dreams.
I would like to have some of her cooties. Can I have some of her cooties?
Yeah, throw it over.
Oh.
That's how you get mono,
Incestuous
babe.
and dirty.
I just want to know, was
What?
Incestuous and dirty. And
What is? Oh, Hunter Biden?
Well, yeah, not you.
Thank God.
But just that whole that is How could you have any confidence
Yeah.
in what's happening with our leadership?
You shouldn't have.
No,
I think
I
that's
mean,
for a long
absolutely
time.
not.
You look back, there's probably stuff we
Sure.
wouldn't know if Donald Trump wouldn't be elected.
Well, therein lies the problem.
Did Donald Trump have to release the transcript?
Excuse me. I did so many shows last week, I lost my voice.
My understanding that it isn't an actual transcript. It is what is recalled from that conversation. There was no transcript.
They were recording calls. There's a lot of calls made by the president. They're recording for these very purposes, okay, because they know that these accusations are coming.
I guess what I'm heard, maybe I'm inaccurate that this one wasn't, and then this is what was recalled from the conversation, that there is actually no transcript. I learned that from Glenn Beck, so it must be true.
That's
So
true.
So to your question, no, he did not have to release the transcript
So why do you think he did?
because he didn't think he did anything wrong.
Okay, that's what I wanted to know.
Yeah.
Right.
He said, yeah, you want to see it?
Because your story that you just told sounds pretty bad. So it seems to me, from his point of view, he's saying, sure, now you'll see what's really been going on.
Yeah.
That's what it seems like to me. But I definitely don't have a background in politics.
That's the issue.
So my question is, reading this is facts?
Yep.
I'm asking.
Yeah.
That's so. What keeps Trump from calling a press conference and walking everybody through that the same way and say, this is facts. This is what we're investigating.
Yeah. Well, I think that's the deal. I think that's the issue. This thing's got to get trotted out.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So we'll see what happens. But I'm telling you, even once that happens, they'll just be on to the next.
Mm-hmm.
If I don't die first, we're getting out of here.
Even if they impeached him, it wouldn't be until probably 2025 when it.
Well,
went into
okay.
effect.
So first of all, if they did get into an impeachment proceeding, that is not going to happen, and no action is going to be taken before the 2020 election. Mm-hmm. So get that through your head and think about it.
Yeah.
You're not talking about something that just happens like that. So the Joy Behars and the Whoopi Goldbergs of the world who are celebrating these things, and the Robert De Niros and the Rob Reiners and all these morons that are out there in Hollywood thinking, oh, something's finally being done. You Twitter trolls out there that have no clue about anything, it ain't happening. So you better trot out your best pony, because we're going to an election in 2020.
Right.
So we'll see what happens. But get ready for the next 14 months. It's going to be one thing after another, more and more and more of these things. It's going to cost the American taxpayers tens of millions of dollars to continue to investigate these things. I mean, it is ridiculous. Every time these days you turn on the television, it is one more hearing before Congress or hearing before a Senate committee. It's ridiculous. It's just gotten dumb at this point. And nobody, it's becoming white noise. And that's another thing. When you have that much corruption going on, what else would you want to do but just have a bunch of smoke and mirrors and white noise going on?
Which, even when you asked Helms, does it really matter? I think so many Americans just get so frustrated. It's so dense, and it's so, at some point you just do turn it off.
Yeah.
You don't want to hear it. And so everything that everyone is getting is a 50,000-foot view.
Yeah.
Instead of breaking it down like you just did.
Yeah.
To kind of walk us through it, because we don't want to give it the time.
Yeah.
It's so frustrating.
And again, and even that, I mean, we're still taking a macro view of it. I want you to go in. I want you to start looking this stuff up. I want you to read it for yourselves. I want you to study. Go back. It's amazing to me how ignorant people are. We all are, in terms of what our Constitution says, what this process of impeachment means. It disheartens me all the time how people have just forgotten this thing called the Constitution of the United States, which I think is the greatest document in history next to the Holy Bible. So, there it is. Check it out. You make your own decision. I mean, you're going to look me in the eye and tell me that these politicians are on the up and up and they're straight? Give me a break. No, Jerry Nadler, that's not a heart attack. It's your belt buckle around your nipples.
So to sum all this up, it just shows you how much the government will go to cover up that the aliens are really here.
They are here.
They
You
are.
haven't heard another thing about the storming Area 51. They can't kill us all. We're going to get them aliens.
Maybe Nancy Pelosi and Biden are aliens. Their teeth keep falling out because aliens don't have
I
teeth.
was just about to accuse you of being one, pal.
Yeah.
I got my teeth.
Lizard person. She's a lizard person.
Lizard person.
Lizard person.
I'd heard that Trump was an alien from my friend Trigger, and he's orange because
He's covering up the green.
he's covering up the green.
Yeah, Trigger DeBose said that that was the Trigger DeBose expose on weird encounters.
Mm-hmm.
People need to go on YouTube and watch that. Mm-hmm. No, I don't think that one's on YouTube. It's on my Facebook.
Oh, no,
though.
I laughed.
I'll make sure that Trigger puts that up on YouTube.
Can you ask him?
Yeah, he's not real technologically savvy.
I'd like an autograph too.
Okay. He'd pull that gold tooth out and give it to you. Now that sounds like Nancy Pelosi. Nancy Pelosi. Go spit on somebody else. You notice when Nancy starts talking that it takes her like 5 minutes to get warmed up? Like for the first 2 minutes she's talking, she's just trying to get her teeth all together. She's like, okay, first of all, I want to tell everyone that I pray for the president. I do. I pray for the president. And not only this, but it's going to be. Did you hear her saying that she prays for the president and all that stuff?
Well, you know it takes women longer to get warmed up.
You would think for $120 million. I like what you said right there. That was good. You would think for $120 million you could afford some denture cement. Yeah, keep your teeth in your mouth.
It's a commercial. You can have it all done in like a day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They'll screw you some brand new teeth in there to get right into the bone.
She spent all her money on plastic surgery while she was
But you
off.
could get better plastic for that kind of money, dude. I mean, really. She
It's
came
gonna
back
settle.
after that break. Those eyebrows were a foot higher.
They'll settle in place. Just give her a
Yeah.
minute.
Yeah.
One more facelift. She's going to be the only congressperson in D.C. with a goatee. And then Trump can grab her by the chin. You're welcome. You're welcome, people. I'm here all week.
I can't.
I'd let a billionaire grab me.
Oh, me too.
Yeah, because then I'd be a millionaire.
Everybody's
Let
got a
me grab
price.
you.
I would.
You would let me
Jay's
grab
like, I would let him grab you too.
Jade.
Well, I mean, my thing
40
is
bucks
people,
is fine.
people get so... Trump said he would grab her by the pee. Oh, you would too. No, I would never. That's because you've never been around a billionaire. You've been felt up by thousandaires
I
your
thought
whole
he
life.
said they let you grab
let
them.
you, and they
and
do.
they do. That is
You people have been letting
100%.
thousandaires feel you up for the last 50 years. Get around a billionaire. I'd take Bill Gates' hand and hold it right there. Let him feel my Microsoft.
You like it? My Microsoft. Let him feel my
Natalie
hard
would
drive.
have to have Bill Gates' hand on vibrate, though. It has to be vibrate.
Yeah. What the crap?
She doesn't want that new
Anti-vibration.
technology.
Anti-vibration?
Y'all want to entertain yourselves?
put that on
when
the
you're done with
periodic
this
table.
podcast? I want you to go get a video of Bill Gates dancing. Back when they released Microsoft, and he does his little celebration dance. Wow, white people. I mean, white people. Privilege is a myth, y'all. Privilege is a myth. There's so many things. All right, SteveHelmsBand.com, PartyFoulNation.com. Ben McPherson, find him out on the road. Go see him playing with Kyle Parkin all over the place.
Come on.
Come on with it, baby. Best fiddle player out there. I don't care about anybody else. Hot news, Natalie. Texas Gun Experience is opening up.
Next month.
Can't wait. Can't wait. Go to watchchad.com. Find me out on the road. If I don't...
You'll find me in the hospital with Chad again.
It's kind of sad that
Third
this
time.
is your first episode in this new studio and you died today.
He's choked up.
Yeah,
He's
first and
emotional.
last. First and last. Going out with a storm. Party time, Mom.
He's just choked up.
Well, I did 5 shows in 5 cities last week, and I lost my voice, and so I got the cough that's sitting on me, and it just, it's in my chest. You know,
Yeah.
I don't feel bad, but I just can't get rid of this. I think I have an acid reflux deal.
Yeah.
I'm going to Tulsa, Oklahoma. I got a show there on the 11th of October, and I'm going to be in Wichita, Kansas. Let me explain something to you folks. Facebook, when we put stuff out there, like they don't allow us to say, share this anymore. Like they penalize you. The algorithm does if you ask people to share. So I'm just telling you, if you see something and you like it and you want other people to see it, share it. Okay? Go leave us a 5-star review. I love y'all. God bless you. Candice, the queen of the Ethiopians, the puppet master, Mark Tate. We're getting used to the new digs. Good to see you guys. Look at it. Chad Prather Show over your shoulder right there. Look at it. That's an action shot. Yes. Candice. So shy. So shy. Look at this double chin. I shaved. I look like a thumb in a hat.
But you're my thumb.
Oh, come here and kiss that double chin. Come gobble on my waddle.
No.
All right, let's talk about that dream you had. I love y'all. We'll talk to you next time. God bless you. Bye.